With the massive upcoming MMO Ashes of Creation drawing near to their highly anticipated Alpha 2 test, and as more information about the game and its systems have come out, I've noticed a lot of people asking the same questions. Do I have enough time for this game? And can I make an impact as a casual player? And while it is definitely true that this game is going to be more competitive and more for the hardcore MMO players out there, there is still room for the more casual players to make an impact. That impact is obviously not going to be as strong as someone who has a lot more time to be in game, but that doesn't mean that it won't be felt or appreciated by the Ashes community. For the purposes of this video and conversation, I think that we should establish parameters for what a casual is. So I'm going to say that a casual plays at least 1.5 hours every day with at least 1 3-hour block of time each weekend. Anything less than that, and you're venturing into something below casual, super casual, or something like that. And while there is absolutely nothing wrong with being super casual, I don't see how someone playing that little amount of time could make much of an impact. Are we good? Everyone completely agrees with my totally arbitrary definition of casual? All right, good. Let's do this. Number 5, running a tavern. Number 5 on my list is number 5 because it's going to require something that none of the other things on this list will. That being the backing of a fairly large or competitive guild. I would wager a fair percentage of you watching this video will fit into this particular category. Former hardcore MMO players that used to go hard and get all sweaty and still have connections with hardcore guilds and communities, but life or kids or spouses or jobs or hobbies have limited how much time you can dedicate to MMOs anymore. If this describes you, please drop a comment and let me know because I'm actually curious how many of you fit that bill. If you have connections with a competitive guild and they don't mind that all you really do is log in an hour or 3 every night and run a tavern that they have set up for you on one of their freeholds, you could have a huge impact on the server. Spend a little time throughout your day brainstorming ideas for events you could hold or games you could have people in your tavern play. Work with some connections to get awesome food and drink made for your patrons, and have your guild stay on the lookout for those rare tavern games Steven has said that you could find out in the wild. With a minimal amount of time each day, you could build the reputation of your guild as a place where fun things happen, cool people hang out, and stuff gets done. You could tip the balance of power in your region just by being creative and spending your time making sure others are having an awesome time in Ashes of Creation. Number 4, follow the Zerg. There are no doubt going to be large guilds filled with other casual and semi-casual players who will get together every night and do things together. It might be world boss hunting, dungeoneering, raiding caravans, or engaging in any one of a dozen other Ashes systems. And if you go this route, are you going to become a mayor of a node, become super wealthy, get invited to participate in castle sieges? No, of course not. Those ideas went out the window when you said, sure, honey, remodeling our home sounds like a great idea, but let's not hire a contract. We can save a ton on labor if I just do it myself. But you can still have fun with the game. You could make a ton of new friends and still hit max level in the game like everyone else. It'll just take you longer. If you plan on going this route, I highly suggest you start looking for your community now. There are dozens of guilds already recruiting on the Ashes website, the Discord, and then there are several community Discords and probably Reddit too. Start finding your people now. Number 3, play the market. Just because you can't log in for a huge chunk of time every day doesn't mean you can't log in and out multiple times a day for short sessions. Especially with the explosion of work from home, quick, short play sessions to check out the market and change prices will be commonplace. I've actually known a pretty large number of guys like this in my days of playing MMOs. They just understand the market. They have this meticulous nature that you got to have to watch the prices go up and down and notate all of it and then make correct predictions about how the market will swing. You could drop them in any game with like 100 gold, never see them online, and certainly never go do any content with them, and then check back on them like 2 weeks later and they're looking down at you from their golden chariot with a couple of ladies feeding them grapes and fanning them. And with Ashes of Creation's player-driven economy, it will be even easier to pull this off. Players will be coming back from gathering expeditions with large amounts of new materials to sell, and caravans will be arriving daily with new commodities. You'll need to base yourself in an economic node, but if you have the patience, the skill, and the ability to log in several times a day, you could be living a life of luxury while those sweaty tryhards play 14 hours a day for scraps. Number 2, live the life of a pirate. Think Sea of Thieves, but inside of an MMO. Again, like the other offerings on this list, you're never going to compete with the big dogs. You aren't going to own a galleon with 40 cannon broadsides and 100 crewmen working the decks. But you could be one of those crewmen, or you could own a small vessel and go after smaller targets. We don't have a ton of details about life on the seas in Ashes of Creation, but what we do know is that people will be attempting to cross the sea between continents with valuable cargo, and you could make that cargo yours with the right strategy. Can you take out a cargo ship with a small boat? Are the small boats expensive and time-consuming to replace? We actually don't know yet, but if you get creative, and you find the right combination of skills and abilities, you could have a huge impact on the node around you, bolstering your own node with your stolen goods and weakening the surrounding nodes at the same time. Or you could just join someone's crew and log in every night with a pre-planned adventure just waiting on you. Put in your 2 hours and then go to bed. They will love the time you were able to dedicate and your reliability, and you will love having something awesome, competitive, and fun to do every single night. So what do you say? Is it the pirate's life for you? And number 1, join a gathering or crafting crew. I personally think this is going to be the single most impactful thing that the casual player base will be able to do in Ashes of Creation. Ashes is going to have extremely social gathering and crafting, between multiple people being able to hit the same resource node. A skill tree that will create differences between people that have the same gathering skill, and processing being something done on the node and taking time. Gatherers and crafters on a given node are going to know each other well and will exponentially increase their productivity by working together, which just isn't the case in almost any other MMO. Think about World of Warcraft, for example. If you and I are playing together, and I want to make armor and you want to make weapons, so we set out to gather up the materials to make that happen, we got to go our separate ways. If I follow you around, you're going to get to every mining node and I'll be left with nothing. But in Ashes, we can both hit the same node, reducing the time spent hitting it and increasing the yield at the same time. Then there is the surveying system, which not everyone will be able to put their skill points in, that basically allows you to spawn nodes on the map as opposed to running around randomly looking for nodes. And of course, there is safety in numbers. Small groups of around 2 to 10 players leaving the node together, using their varied skills to find and extract resource nodes and bring it all back to the node are going to be a common thing in Ashes of Creation. And most importantly, those groups are going to be massively beneficial to the node. It takes a crazy high amount of different resources to build the various buildings that go on a node and to maintain it. The need for resources will never end. As a gatherer main, with a group of friends in just a couple of hours a night, you could help build and maintain your node, have your name known by all the locals, and have fun while doing it. Ashes of Creation is going to be a very competitive, hardcore game full of people giving it their all, 10 or more hours every single day. And the older player base that this game attracts aren't going to have the time, nor probably the inclination to compete with the tryhards. But it doesn't mean that you can't find a way to have fun and still make waves on your server or in your local area. How many hours a day do you plan on playing Ashes of Creation? And what type of impact do you expect to make with that playtime? Let me know down in the comments. I'd really like to know. That's all I have on this one, guys, and I'll see y'all in the next one.